We're kicking off with the main event of Raw as Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed met in the last Monster Standing match, the culmination of weeks of destroying backstage areas as well as a car in the parking lot. Strowman delivered a chokeslam through the announce table to start the match, but Reed answered with a Death Valley driver off of production equipment and through a table. Even with this intense start, the pair refused to slow down as Strowman and Reed barreled through the barrier, a spot that clearly hurt the back of the former Universal Champion. The front row of fans were wiped out completely, but thanks to a distraction, the referee didn't notice Reed hitting 2 tsunamis on Braun and didn't begin his 10 count. This infuriated the Australian, who at this point were tending to the fans, and Reed started attacking security. Reed grabbed Pearce, but security interfered before he assaulted the Raw GM, but a top rope dive from Strowman took out everyone, including Adam Pearce. Unfortunately, this spot didn't go as planned, as PW Torch reports that Pearce was legitimately hurt on Raw, and we hope to have an update on his condition soon. Back in the match, the two monsters delivered a superplex that broke the ring, leaving everyone who was hurting in even worse condition than before. Just as the pair were getting to their feet, with Reed using the steel steps that were in the ring for assistance, Seth Rollins returned to TV and nailed a stomp on Reed onto the ring steps. This was a huge surprise as Rollins had been taken out by Reed on the post-SummerSlam Raw, and Braun was able to get to his feet and be the last monster standing. We'll have to see what WWE does next in this story between monsters, as fans were treated to a high-impact match on Raw this week, and Rollins' return was the icing on top. If there was a downside, it's that this match could have come on a PLE, such as a Saudi show, rather than just on an episode of Raw, even though it was the main event. But what did you make of this match and Seth's return? Should it have come on a PLE instead? Let us know your opinions down below. Raw kicked off with an emotional entrance from new Intercontinental Champion Jey Uso, and he made sure to celebrate with someone special. Making his first entrance as champion, Jey walked through the crowd with his son in a heartfelt moment, but eagle-eyed fans quickly noticed something new. Jey was carrying a redesigned Intercontinental Championship with blue accents on the center plates in a fresh update to the title, and if you want to buy it, click the link in the description. Jey's celebration was quickly interrupted by former champion Bron Breakker, and despite a sense of tension filling the arena, Bron wasn't there to spoil the moment. Instead, Bron wanted to be the first to congratulate Jey, and the two shared a respectful exchange, with Uso even playing to the crowd by calling out Breakker's signature catchphrase. This led to a chorus of barks from the crowd in an interesting moment that bordered on a babyface turn for Breakker, an idea that has a lot of potential. Breakker's explosive in-ring style and abundant charisma means that a babyface turn could easily work for him, and that appears to be WWE's direction going forward. Jey Uso soaked in chants of "You deserve it" from the crowd, and the outpouring of support suggests that this is just the beginning of an exciting chapter for the new Intercontinental Champion. How long do you see Jey Uso holding the Intercontinental Championship? What exciting feuds are you hoping to see? Sound off in the comments section. Raw saw Xavier Woods continue his ongoing storyline of being frustrated and displaying heel characteristics when the New Day star met Rey Mysterio in singles action. During the finish, Rey managed to escape a hold from Woods and hit him with a Hurricane Rana, sending Woods into the ropes in prime position for a 619. Rey tried to hit the move, but Woods dodged it in time, and seizing the opportunity, Woods pulled off Rey's mask and rolled him up for the pinfall victory. This was quite a shocking moment, and Woods seemed very surprised to pull off the win in this way, as ripping off Rey's mask has typically been an act committed by heels. From Kane to Randy Orton to Chris Jericho, removing Rey's mask is not only an act of a heel, but it displays an obvious disrespect to the significance of the mask in the world of Lucha Libre. After the match was over, Kofi Kingston made it clear that it wasn't kosher that Woods won like he did, but they quickly moved past it as Woods wanted to brag about beating a Hall of Famer. This was followed by Kofi Kingston saying that Jey Uso offered him an Intercontinental title match for next week, but Kofi turned it down, and instead it'll be Woods who gets the title opportunity. Xavier was thrilled to hear it, as he's confident he can beat Jey Uso, and if so, it'll also be Woods' first singles championship since arriving in WWE over a decade ago. The backstage segment was another interesting development, and fans may have noticed that in the background, Karrion Kross, who first planted the seeds for Woods to turn, was watching. Xavier Woods is inching towards a heel turn, and that could be a big deal, and with a title match against one of WWE's top faces in store, only time will tell what's next for him. We already mentioned how Jey Uso and Bron Breakker shared a mutual respect on this week's Raw, but the pair have also been interacting on WWE's untelevised live events. During an event in Huntsville, Alabama, the pair met with the Intercontinental title on the line, and on Instagram, Breakker shared a unique moment from their match. With the crowd involved, Jey and Bron engaged in a Woof versus Yeet contest as the fans backed who they wanted to win with their signature catchphrase. Midway during the fun spot, Breakker attacked Uso with a kick, returning the match to what it was, but at the end of the night, it was Uso who won and still left the Intercontinental Champion. In AEW, Killswitch, formerly Luchasaurus, has been one of the company's top big men, with Reigns' Trios, Tag Team, and TNT champion to his name. This week, Fightful Select reports that Killswitch is currently recovering after his fiancée discovered him collapsed on Friday, September 27th. Killswitch was quickly taken to the hospital where doctors found his blood oxygen levels to be below 80%, and he was diagnosed with pneumonia in both of his lungs. It was also revealed that he was just days away from suffering permanent lung damage, and as of now, he is still under medical care and has been on supplemental oxygen. He has been advised to expect a recovery period of over a month, and as for when fans can expect him back in the ring, that remains uncertain. Killswitch's most recent match was part of AEW All In's Casino Gauntlet match, which saw Christian Cage victorious and earn a shot at the AEW World Championship. In that match, Killswitch helped Christian Cage overcome Adam Page, Jeff Jarrett, Kazuchika Okada, Kyle O'Reilly, Killswitch, Mark Briscoe, Nigel McGuinness, Orange Cassidy, Ricochet, Roderick Strong, and Zack Sabre Jr. to get the win. Now Cage will have to go without Killswitch by his side as the health and well-being of the masked wrestler takes precedence after this scary medical incident. We're sending out our best to Killswitch from everyone here at Slat Rock Wrestling News. Hopefully, he is able to have a breakthrough and get back to perfect health very soon. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre met for a verbal confrontation during Raw, mere days before they collide at this weekend's Bad Blood in Atlanta inside Hell in a Cell. The pair met inside the barbaric structure this week, though the cage was merely the setting for a standard back and forth between the two in a war of promos mediated by Adam Pearce. Security guards divided the ring to keep Punk and McIntyre separated, and Drew started things off, noting that he wore a black suit in respect to Punk's wife ahead of what he'll do to Punk. He added that the voice of the voiceless has taught him that hate is a powerful weapon, but his hate will die alongside CM Punk after their match this weekend. Punk spoke up to interrupt McIntyre, stating that he's so full of rage he's been living in a hotel for the last 4 months to not show this ugly side of himself to his wife AJ Lee. This side of Punk is one that McIntyre has brought out, and Punk said that McIntyre will be begging and praying for mercy this Saturday, ending with the "I'll see you in hell" tagline. The content of the promo was nothing new, but the intensity with which Punk and McIntyre delivered it was extraordinary, as the pair demonstrated a true hatred for one another. This was a money promo and both men were up to the task, and on this occasion, one of WWE's most storied match stipulations in history feels like a fitting place to settle their differences. This match will be the third match between the two in this rivalry, which has been building ever since Punk made his return to WWE at Survivor Series in Chicago close to 1 year ago. With McIntyre winning at SummerSlam and Punk tying things up at Bash in Berlin, things are tied at 1 win each, and expect nothing but carnage this Saturday at Bad Blood. But who do you think should win this Hell in a Cell match, and why? Are you expecting any surprises inside the structure? Share your thoughts in the comments. On February 1st, WWE will host its Royal Rumble PLE in Indianapolis, Indiana, and this week, fans got their first look at the official poster for the show. This poster features Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan, and CM Punk, but one name not featured on the poster is Drew McIntyre. On social media, McIntyre responded to the snub, pointing out that WWE recently sent him to Indianapolis to promote the show, making this snub all the more egregious. Despite the snub, McIntyre isn't letting this poster get him down as he gears up for what could be a career-defining showdown with CM Punk at Bad Blood. With that said, we can't help but wonder if this snub will spark something of a redemption for Drew on the road to WrestleMania 41. Only time will tell. Gunther was on Raw with Sami Zayn still wanting a World Heavyweight title match, but the Canadian isn't the only superstar with the ring general in his sights. Backstage, Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser were confronted by Bron Breakker, one of the few men in WWE to beat the Austrian, and a match was teased between the two. Breakker beat Gunther on the April 5th, 2022 edition of NXT, and this confrontation only further teased a face turn for the second-generation star. In the ring, Gunther again came face-to-face with Sami Zayn, and Gunther mentioned that, like Zayn, his family was at WrestleMania, though Gunther didn't parade his kin around. He added that his family demands excellence, but Zayn fired back, saying Gunther vanished after WrestleMania because his father made him feel like a loser. This caused Gunther to lose his cool and attack Zayn before finally accepting Sami's challenge for a World Heavyweight Championship match. After the match the pair had in April, expectations are high for this rematch, which will be for a bigger prize than the IC title both men fought over at WrestleMania 40. Are you excited for this rematch? And does the tease of Gunther vs. Breakker spoil that Zayn is going to lose to the champion? Share your thoughts down below. As we reported yesterday, Ilja Dragunov had another instant classic with Gunther at a recent WWE live event in Columbus, Georgia, which saw the Ring General emerge on top. After the match, Dragunov earned a standing ovation from the fans for his efforts in the World Heavyweight title match, which will be the last time fans see him in the ring for some time. On Raw, WWE's commentary shared the unfortunate news that Dragunov suffered an injury in the match and will be out for around 6 to 9 months with a suspected torn ACL. In a video WWE posted to social media as well as airing on the broadcast, Dragunov was seen leaving the ring on his own volition following the injury, though he hobbled up the ramp. Dragunov struggled to put weight on his right leg, and this news was shared on Raw before a promo segment featuring the World Heavyweight Champion. This is awful news for Dragunov, who only arrived on Raw earlier this year, and we are sending him our best wishes at this unfortunate time. In six-man action, Dominik Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Carlito squared off with Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde in the latest Judgment Day vs. LWO contest. The match saw the heels win when Finn Balor capitalized on a distraction from Liv Morgan to shove Wilde off the rope, allowing McDonough to hit the Devil Inside for the win. This was little more than a heat-building match for the heels, and while the work was solid and the LWO can almost always be counted on for a strong showing, this did little for anyone except give the heels a momentum-building win going into Bad Blood. The Judgment Day also spoke on Raw ahead of the faction's 2 matches at Bad Blood, where Finn Balor will face Damian Priest and Liv Morgan will defend her gold against Rhea Ripley. For this week's show, Balor cut a promo trash-talking Priest before Ripley came out to stand up for herself and her Terror Twins ally. Damian Priest came out and attacked the Judgment Day from behind, while Rhea Ripley was busy taking out Dominik Mysterio, who she claimed is claustrophobic. This line made little sense since the shark cage Dominik will be confined to this weekend has plenty of open space, and it would have made more sense for him to be acrophobic. That is a fear of heights, and either way, Ripley almost shoved Dominik in the shark cage on Raw, but Morgan saved him from the humiliating moment. Damian Priest also ended up getting taken out, with the Judgment Day's usual ambush tactics working like a charm, adding another layer to this story. While it seemed like both Priest and Ripley were in the driver's seat, that seems to have changed, and it's going to be interesting to see how things play out at Bad Blood in both matches. Ever since turning on Rhea at SummerSlam, many fans have seen Dominik Mysterio as little more than a piece of crap, and now WWE's merch department are giving that a rather literal meaning. This week, WWE began selling toilet paper featuring Dominik Mysterio on it for $12.99, which is relatively expensive compared to other non-Dominik toilet paper options out there. On Twitter, Liv Morgan fired back at critics of the new merch, cheekily commenting that it's the closest any of them will get to having Daddy Dom between their legs. This certainly got fans thinking, and this comment comes ahead of one of the most important matches of her career when she defends the Women's World title at Bad Blood. In the meantime, Morgan will defend her Daddy Dom whenever possible, especially from those who think Mysterio's personality has a somewhat fecal quality to it. We'll have to see if more fans will end up purchasing more Dominik Mysterio toilet paper after what Liv said, as it could certainly happen. Do you plan on buying the toilet paper? Click the link in the description if so. We've got some sad news to share now, as Pete Rose, the baseball legend and WWE's first Celebrity Hall of Fame inductee, has died at the age of 83. Rose died on September 30th, but had been signing autographs at an event mere days before his death, an event that also included fellow WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair. Rose made appearances at WrestleManias 14 through 16, where he would have several painful run-ins with Kane, and we'd like to offer our condolences to his family at this sad time. Recently, Swerve Strickland shared that AEW is about to get on Fox, which comes just as WWE's 5-year partnership with the network came to an end. As AEW hasn't yet publicly confirmed a show for Fox, this was an inadvertent leak and one that the former AEW World Champion deeply regrets. During his Backstage Report podcast, Sean Ross Sapp noted that Swerve Strickland wishes he could take that comment back, and he didn't even know he was being recorded at the time. Nevertheless, it appears AEW will have a presence on Fox relatively soon, and while this will be a huge deal with Tony Khan's company, it won't entirely be a surprise. A new QR code by the Wyatt Six led fans to a message reading, "You refuse salvation. Do not force our hand. The reckoning is here," in another cryptic message from the group. Clicking "You" takes fans to a binary code that translates to, "Friends are the family we choose for ourselves. Don't let your pride overcome you. You know better." Clicking on "Salvation" similarly takes fans to another message addressed to someone the group seemingly wants, and this was the theme for several teases found by clicking on words. The QR code appeared on Raw during a promo video, which did feature the bride, who was unveiled to be Nikki Cross, putting to bed any rumors that the bride would be Alexa Bliss. Once again, all signs point to the Wyatt Six wanting a new member to join, but who could it be? Bliss? Possibly Braun Strowman? Give your predictions in the comments. Speaking of cryptic teases, another one played this week with the PFR runes, but this time the mysterious narrator stated that, "Shall not scroll long, prepare yourselves." Wrestling fans, ever the detectives, were quick to point out that these letters are from the Elder Futhark runic alphabet and translate to the word war. This tease comes after last week's tease that declared fate is woven and is reportedly building to the return of Eric and Ivar, but not as the Viking Raiders. As we previously covered, the duo will return as the War Raiders, the name they used in NXT, and we'll have to see what the Raiders do when they're back on TV. On Raw, Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyria had a match which saw the Pure Fusion Collective make their presence felt, but they were unable to pull off their usual heel antics for long. The group was stopped by the returning Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, as the former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions had been out of action for a couple of months at this point. Chance was wearing a face mask to help her with a busted nose, and the two performed a kickstand on the Pure Fusion Collective to help Lyra Valkyria out. The return of the babyface team could be a big deal if given proper booking, but unfortunately that's no guarantee, especially in the women's tag division. After all, Zoe Stark may be the most underrated wrestler in the women's division, while Valkyria, for all her exposure on NXT and Raw in 2024, somehow feels underutilized. After their return, Chance made it clear that they are going to have a new attitude and have their eyes on the women's tag team titles, which could spell bad news for Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. This week's Raw saw some returns take place, and for the first time since being pummeled by multiple tsunamis by Bronson Reed, R-Truth was back on TV like nothing had happened. Truth was in a backstage segment with The Miz and Braun Strowman, the latter of whom he mistook for Andre the Giant, in classic Truth fashion. Truth then dropped another bombshell, the return of Awesome Truth, as the pair were booked for a match against the Final Testament's Authors of Pain. A hot start by Truth was stunted as Akam and Razor isolated him, but the longest reigning 24/7 champion was able to create some separation and tagged in The Miz. This moment was short-lived as the Hollywood A-lister turned on Truth and hit him with a big boot, much to the delight of Karrion Kross, who has been playing devil's advocate for the former WWE champion. Miz walked out on his partner, living AOP to score a much-needed win. And do you like Miz as a heel, or should he have stayed a babyface? Give your thoughts below. The dissension of the New Day continued to rear its ugly head on Raw, as Kofi Kingston took on Chad Gable in singles competition. Gable worked the left leg of Kofi throughout a commercial break, but the former WWE champion proved his resilience as he absorbed everything the Olympian had and refused to give up. Kingston wiped out Julius and Brutus Creed at ringside and had Gable set for trouble in paradise when Xavier Woods grabbed the heel's ankle. Kingston crashed and Gable delivered Chaos Theory for the win, as the New Day continue to struggle to get a win in the ring. If you've seen Darby Allin, you'll know that the AEW pillar is always willing to throw caution to the wind in his efforts to deliver in the ring and put on a great match for the fans. Earlier this year, Allin had to postpone plans to climb Mount Everest in March after breaking his foot during a match with Jay White at Dynamite Big Business, but still plans to climb the mountain. In a previous interview with Josh Martinez, Darby Allin had a question for Cody Rhodes, asking if the American Nightmare thinks Allin could be the face of AEW, and now Rhodes has responded. In a new interview with Martinez, Rhodes said he believes Allin could take on that role, and that the top spot in AEW is more open than people realize, and that Allin could claim it. With that said, Rhodes stressed on the importance of reliability and pointed out Darby's dangerous lifestyle and incidents, including being hit by a bus. Between that and the Everest climb, Rhodes called these plans reckless and stressed that Allin needs to stay healthy and avoid risky situations if he wants to be the face of AEW. For as talented and confident as Allin is, Rhodes said that being a top guy requires constant dedication and made reference to the demanding schedule of a star like John Cena. Rhodes concluded by saying that while Allin has everything it takes, his risky choices could hinder his ability to be the reliable figure AEW needs in the name and face of the company. We will have to wait and see if Darby Allin will pay heed to Cody Rhodes' criticism and stop taking unnecessary risks all the time, or else he may never become the face of AEW. Do you agree with what Cody Rhodes had to say about Darby Allin? Will Allin's reckless lifestyle be his undoing? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. And we're ending with Kevin Owens, who at the September 20th Smackdown fought the Bloodline alongside Cody Rhodes, but Owens had a very special moment after the show. Once the show went off the air, Owens noticed a fan sign that read, "I just keep fighting cancer to CKO," and made sure to meet with the fan named Emily. On Twitter, Emily spoke about her battle with kidney cancer and how important it was for her to tell Owens how much he has helped inspire her to fight. This was certainly a heartwarming moment and just goes to show how wrestlers can prove to be inspirations to countless fans in their own personal battles.